family's influence on a player is huge. About 53% of kids play sports growing up, whether that's neighborhood little leagues, club sports, or school teams. All are required to attend games, practices, and try out for new teams. Parents spend money on equipment and uniforms. They drive hours to the suburbs for games, and they coordinate carpools. Some do this to give their kids a social scene. Some hoping that their kids end up being the 1% that go pro in the sports that they started pursuing. Of course, it takes a great deal of talent to get to that point, but when you're just 3 years old, ready for your first Little League baseball game, it's the time, commitment, and money spent by the parents who play the crucial part. Theo Gillen started baseball at 3 years old. His parents, Libby and Sam, remember it like it was yesterday.
His first baseball game, was at 3 o'clock. We didn't even think he knew he had a game that day, but he was in full uniform at 7 a.m.
At 3 years old.
At 3 years old.
He did his belt buckle by himself.
And we were kind of looking at him at, 6:30 in the morning thinking, Theo, what are you doing? And he was like, it's game day.
Theo grew up in Chicago, Illinois, where he was playing baseball in age groups far above him. He eventually moved to Austin, Texas, where his passion for sports continued to grow in football and in track. However, his parents always knew that he was going to be a baseball star.
Everything he could do, he did. But, the one constant was always baseball. That was you could just tell that was his pure love.
Parents are already required to give up so much for their kid. But when it comes to being a parent to an athlete, there are far different requirements. This level of involvement can profoundly influence a player's success, as studies show that positive parental support has increased confidence, motivation, and overall performance. Sam and Libby knew this was something that they had to do.
I mean, it was a lot of work. The weekends, the practices, as you were saying, and they weren't like, oh, just down the street. Some of the practices were, 45 minutes away.
Research indicates that athletes with actively involved parents are more likely to develop resilience and a strong work ethic. However, it's important for parents to strike a balance between encouragement and actively letting their child take ownership of their athletic journey.
I never coached Theo. I noticed at a really young age when we were still back in Chicago that, if I tried to talk to him about try this or do it this way, he got a very kind of crinkled look on his face, like, and the smile went away. And I kind of realized pretty early that, like, that's not how it's going to work.
Sam saw it as a privilege when Theo asked him for technical advice. And Theo and Sam's relationship and bonding through baseball definitely had an influence on Theo and his love for the sport.
Just from when I was little, we would always be playing catch, throwing me wiffle balls in the backyard. And we've always kind of bonded over baseball and made our connection super strong. Like, it's kind of like that special language that we talk. And yeah, like just from when I was little, we'd be sitting down watching any MLB game that we could, of course, following the Red Sox because that's who he grew up as a fan and it instilled into me.
From the time Theo was 6 to the time he was 16, he averaged about 80 games per year. The commitment and expenses would often make an outsider question, was it even worth it?
That it's an expense. And it's an expense that we basically said, you better get a scholarship, kid, because we're spending a lot of money right now on these, weekend trips and all the gear and, just the time and money. I'm like, hopefully this leads to a scholarship. That was the end goal.
And a scholarship did happen. Theo received offers from all esteemed baseball schools that had been scouting him since he was a boy. He eventually committed to the University of Austin, Texas, but his momentum didn't stop there.
With the 18th pick of the 2024 MLB Draft, the Tampa Bay Rays select Theo Gillen, an outfielder from Westlake High School in Austin, Texas.
Now Theo is 19 years old and an American professional shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays. He was the 18th pick of the 2024 MLB Draft, noted as #1 in Texas and #3 in the country. Surrounded by his friends and family, Theo Gillen was always aware of the support that he had had since he was a child.
Just having everyone that's been a part of my journey, like, it really takes a village when it comes to raising, like, not only just like a kid, but an athlete. Like, it takes a lot of coaches, a lot of time out of their days, a lot of time out of my parents' days, whether it's coordinating, getting to practices and being able to have me ready to go at all times. Like it truly takes a village, and being able to celebrate that moment with them, it was kind of like, again, very surreal and really an awesome experience.
It takes a lot for an athlete to achieve greatness, but Theo's story is a testament to the profound impact of family support, dedication, and shared sacrifices. As he steps in the professional leagues, it is clear the foundation built by the encouragement and commitment of his parents will remain at the heart of his success.
I think knowing them, they'll always want to be a part of the journey, and I always want them to be a part of the journey.
He held my hand and took me to every field. It wasn't the other way around. And that's the thing that made the choices easy. The culmination, while it was a huge relief, I don't know, it always felt like part of the story that we were in his story.